Well, hi. Fancy meeting you here. Day 3 of how to do something with something. How to make money with email. That's what we're calling this. One of these days, we'll actually talk about how to make money. I promise. That would be nice. Jenny's like, that's what I've been here for the whole time. Bait and switch. One big bait and switch is this whole thing. So a little hesitant to ask, I'll be honest. Did anybody launch anything? Are there any new quick start guides out in the universe that weren't there before? Kylie got one done. Jenny got one out there.
Mine was out there a few days prior to taking this class, so now I'm going back in and tweaking some things. It's still not perfect, but it's out there and people have signed up, so hooray.
Okay, that's great. So were you able to take some of the things that we talked about and then do a little,
No, I just did random stuff. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
I used a lot of what you mentioned, so
All
sure.
right. And you are getting subscribers?
Yes.
More than you used to get?
Well, I launched the thing just a couple of days ago. The new site update launched yesterday afternoon, and I have 12. So that's pretty good for a couple of days for me for a new thing. And there's no pop-up yet. It's just in the top and at the bottom.
Oh, great. Okay. So that's more than you were getting, and you haven't even really maxed the real estate just yet, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm feeling generous. I want to bless you with my wisdom today, if you want it. If you have a pop-up or a form where you're like, this isn't working the way that I thought it was supposed to, I have seen approximately 52,000 forms in the last 5 years. So if you want me to take a look at yours, I'd be happy to do that. Before I get too far down this, and we are going to talk about pop-ups in detail here, but since we're on this topic, why, if you put your opt-in out to the universe and it's not getting the results that you want, there's usually a reason or multiple reasons. It could be that nobody actually sees it, meaning you're not, you don't have it in the places where anybody actually looks. If you put it in your sidebar or your footer, nobody's seeing that. If you're doing exit intent pop-ups, nobody's seeing those. So you're not, we wouldn't expect any signups from those. It might also be that people are eye blind to it, meaning it looks like an ad. They've seen all this stuff before. They just don't, they don't see it. What else? It could be that it's just not the right message or the right headline. It could be the right problem that we're solving, but it's just not very hooky. We're not using words that people will grasp immediately, or images that jump out. Or it could be that we're solving the wrong problem, like the pie example that I gave the other day. I don't know if anybody heard that, but the gist of it was I was working with a food blogger. I created a quick start guide because she had so many pie recipes and so much traffic for pie. So the pie was like, how to bake the perfect pie or something like that. And nobody signed up for it. And then started thinking about that. It was a solution to a problem nobody has. These people are just Googling pie for a special occasion. It's not that they want to become pieists. But that's the official term, by the way, is a pieist, a pieologist. So what I did instead is switch to baking, and then it did great. I just didn't have the right problem solved. So long story short, if you want me to look at your forms or opt-ins at any time, I'm happy to do that at the end of this call, and I'll take a look at it. All right. Jenny is going to give us a running total. We're going to get up to 18 and a half before started at 12. She's now at 16. 5 minutes from now, we should be at 300. Okay, excellent. Let's talk today about, I didn't even really look. Let's see. Okay, we got it figured out. The scroll, Julie mentioned she has a pop-up and it's set to 50% scroll. I used to do that too, Julia. In fact, I used to do 30 to 50% as my default. And then I kept running into, and that was fine for like the newer posts. But if it was showing up on a post that was most popular, that has a lot of comments on it. And so the scroll was like in comment 412 or something like that. And so you would never see it. So I switched to a time-based thing. And so I typically do 10 to 15 seconds. But anyway, I'll talk more about that in a minute. Everybody is editing, working on it. All right, good. Anybody else? Or Kylie, you launched something. Was it any success?
Who knows? I haven't looked at it yet. It's only 9 o'clock.
I'm sure nobody's died.
I'm pretty sure no one's died
Yeah. Okay. Good.
so far.
That's Kylie and I. That's our criteria for everything. Okay. Well,
I'll
let's
let you know tomorrow. I'll see the results tomorrow probably.
Okay. Sounds good. Here we go. Let's share the screen. And if you have anybody else have any success stories or sob stories, I'm here for them. I've probably seen that movie before, and I can tell you how it ends. All right, here's what we've been doing up to this point. Created a quick start guide as we just discussed, and you've added it to your form to your website somewhere. Maybe you're using that ManyChat thing and trying it on Instagram, or you're starting to capture email subscribers. The whole point. Now people are coming into your list through the quick start guide, through bonus content like save this recipe, save this article, those types of features. Now they're on your list. What do we send them? Well, today I want to talk about these things. I want to talk about the Forever series, which is I'll explain in a minute, but it's an evergreen sequence that I really, really like for branding, for nurturing, for awesomeness. And then what to send seasonally, because, fall is soup time and Easter is Easter egg time and things like that. And then we'll talk about RSS feeds. All right. Before I go too far, raise a hands without raising your hand down in the chat. Who's got a Forever series? If you answer that question that I have one, it means you know what it is. Okay. Okay. All right. A lot of people do. Maybe I should have asked who doesn't know what a Forever series is. Okay, Megan, thank you. All right. All right. I went back to look, and the first time I started using the term Forever series was in 2017. That's when I think I first coined this term. And I was inspired by what I used to do in e-commerce. When I got to the blogging world, I discovered that nobody was doing this. It was not a concept that what I'm going to share with you is not a concept that I invented per se. It's simply that I made it standard for my clients. I made it standard for myself, put a name to it. And it's basically my favorite thing now. So when I started talking about this, kind of coined this phrase of Forever series, you'll kind of see why I picked the words Forever series. The idea here is that you have been blogging or creating content for a very long time, most of you. That's why you've made it to Raptive. This is not, some people are overnight successes, but most of us, it takes a little while. Quite often we fixate on the latest thing that we just made. That's not always, however, the greatest thing that we've ever made. In fact, statistically speaking, it's almost impossible for it to be the greatest thing that you've ever made. So what I want to talk about today is how do we take your best content and then put it on autopilot. This is why I called the course Email on Autopilot in 2017 as well, because you can set this and kind of forget this. Now, I want to talk about a gentleman that many of you have heard of. His name is James Clear. He's the author of a book called Atomic Habits. The book is not that, it's been around a little bit, but it's not that old. I think it was around the pandemic or so is when it first came out, right? I'd have to look it up. But I discovered James in 2017. It was the summer of 2017. And he was talking about, I really liked his stuff for continuous improvement. And I'm a self-help kind of guy. I'm aware that I have failings and I want to be better. So I was following James' stuff, and he starts sending me these emails when I signed up for his newsletter. And so these are the emails the first emails that he sent me. And you can see it in July of 2017. The first two I got were some sort of welcome thingy. And then look at this one right here. Forget about setting goals, focus on this instead. If you know his book, Atomic Habits, can you guess what he wants you to focus on? Yes, habits. So what does this look like to me? And as you can see, I have received, it's all new stuff. I get an email from him about once a week. It looks like he sits down every week, types up an email and sends it to me. So I did some Sherlock Holmesing. That's a verb. And I tried to figure out exactly what does this look like for James on his side of things. So I dug into every one of the articles that he was sending in these emails and tried to figure out when did he originally publish that article. So take a look at this. So the first two, as I mentioned, were some sort of welcome thing. And then the first real one is that habits article. He had written it originally in published it in October of 2013. He had then sent me another one that was a year old. He snuck in a new thingy in there, but then I got October of 2015, October of 2016, September. It's old stuff. Who does this guy think he is? Pawning off his dusty old content on me. Well, it's all new to me. And if he doesn't start with habits, which, as we can see now with his multi-platinum bestseller of the century book, where would I be jumping into his journey? If I don't understand that he's all about habits, then the rest of it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I want you to think about this in terms, not James, but in terms of you. You have somebody that visits your blog or your channel or your whatever it is, likes what they see, actually decides to sign up for your newsletter thanks to a well-placed quick start guide, perhaps, or whatever it is. And then they start getting the best stuff from you every week. Every time this content brings them back to your channel of choice. As they do this, your admiration grows. They tell all your friends, they buy your stuff, you get the private yacht. Okay, that's how this happens. And I call this the Forever Series. And all it is an automated sequence that provides answers to your readers' problems before they think to ask. Look, it's pretty simple. You just figure out what's your most important messages. And we're going to do that in just a second. You put them in the right order. You decide the frequency with which you should do it. And by the way, all y'all can do this weekly. All of you. I challenge you, any one of you. Okay, Kevin may come back to me. He may say, I don't have enough. All right, Kevin, maybe. But the rest of you can send a weekly Forever Series. Kevin, you probably can too if you have the content. You might want to think about how this would apply to content for your readers. And you just simply, when you come up with new stuff, you add it into the right spot. Like you come up with a new blockbuster article, or James does, what does he do? Well, he can put it at the end of the sequence. He can decide, oh, it's really important, I'm going to put it here up front, or he can stick it in the middle, or he can move things around because it's not set in concrete. It's a sequence. It's a little bit more pliable than that. If something doesn't perform, he just simply cuts it out. And you can do the same thing. In my world, talking about Disney Cruise. Remember my Disney Cruise Quick Start Guide, what to expect on your first Disney cruise? Well, that's not the end. Those first emails are not the end of the infinite Disney Cruise knowledge that I have to share. And so when they get on that series, they get on my email every Sunday for about 30 weeks, I send them a new email. Email number one, regardless of whether it is May or February or Christmas Day, it's always the most powerful Disney cruise tip I ever learned. And I lead with that because that's my most important and most impressive piece of content. Week two, the following Sunday, is the packing list because everybody needs to know what to pack. Week three is how to avoid getting seasick. Week four is what happens on Disney's private island and so forth. I am leading them where I want them to go because I understand I've been in their shoes. I can anticipate their needs. I can answer their questions before they ask. I can lead them where they should go when they don't even know. And I save myself the time of writing exclusive new content for an exclusive new newsletter. Okay? So, how many questions I often get? How many emails should be in a Forever series? Well, it's in the title. I call it a Forever series because if you want to, it can go on forever, meaning you can keep adding to it as you continue to extend the journey for the reader. In my case, I have 30 because it was the Disney cruise was, the website was a little side hustle. Got to make money doing other things, I guess. And that was the extent of the content. And besides that, at some point, they're going to actually go on their cruise. And they're not necessarily going to need, people book their cruises about a year to 18 months out. So they're into it and it's helpful for about 30 weeks. I could go longer for sure. But, and you might be saying, well, what happens in week 31? Well, I think let's instead of asking that question, let's ask what would happen if I had week 31? If they've been opening and enjoying up to this point, the likelihood that they're going to open and enjoy the next one is pretty high. What are the odds that they come back to my website and just bounce around and check things out on week 31 if I don't send them an email? Almost nothing. So start with 5, start with 10, add to it, build a journey for your audience that makes sense for them. All right. Margaret, oh, sorry, I'll go in order here. I send out 2 to 3 recipes a week. Autopilot, should it be on a different day? You mean the Forever series? Probably, yes. How many emails a week before people are sick of you? Shauna, it always depends on your topic and how you can serve. It's not spam if you're providing value. The minute you stop providing value, so that's why I can't answer that. If, for example, you decide that your recipes are going to be pineapple coleslaw, and then it's going to be pineapple potato coleslaw, and then it's going to be pineapple potato broccoli jalapeno coleslaw, you've stopped providing value. However, if you send, delicious appetizers and side dishes on one day, and then you send me chocolate chip cookies on the next day, and you send me ice cream sandwiches on the following day, and then you send me the copycat Taco Bell, whatever, Crunch Wrap on the following day, you're providing me value every day. With food, we can do this more than Kevin can. All right. Sorry, I keep picking on Kevin. Kevin, love you, man. Let's keep running. But it just illustrates the point. Somebody who's into running is probably not going to want to receive a different running shoe review every single day. So Kevin's got to figure out his frequency a little bit differently and what his topics could be. However, I would argue that Kevin's journey, this Forever series for Kevin, is even more powerful than Shauna's because a runner wants to run, man, and they pay money to run. They pay money to get the latest whiz-bang gadgets. They drink this goo stuff that you can hardly swallow, and they claim that it tastes good and gives them boost. I mean, they do all this crazy stuff. Right? I had the biggest meltdown of my life when I was running. Total sidebar. I was training for a half marathon, my first, by the way, and only. And I'm on. What they do is they have you progressively, you just keep adding more distance and more distance. And so as I'm getting closer to the race, I'm supposed to run this 10 miles. And I'd never run 10 miles at one time before. I live in Arizona. It's kind of hot. They have these canals. A couple of you know what I'm talking about, where they're farm canals and you can run along them. So I'm in the middle of nowhere running on this farm canal. And I told myself I would not stop running. I didn't care how slow I would go, but I would run. And I would just keep moving. I would keep running. And if I walked, I was a loser. I got to mile 8 and I walked. And so I had this massive meltdown. I'm tired and everything. I'm literally in the middle of it. People walking by, I've got tears coming down my face. I was like, you're the worst. You're a loser. Why can't you run? So and I promised myself that if I started running again, made to the next corner, I wasn't a loser. So I started running again, and then I had to walk again. So anyway, it's a weird thing. Sorry, Kevin, tangent. But people like that, they pay money for this crazy thing. All right, I would love to ask my old subscribers if they want to repeat the Forever series. Margaret, I don't know. I mean, you can do that, but why not just do it? Because if you're providing value to your teachers, therapists, students, and for you may want, or parents, you may want to have different series for different people where you can, like I do with Disney Cruise people. I mean, it's all up to you on how you want to do that, but think about email math for a second, everybody. What's a good open rate? 50% or higher? What's a good click rate? Back to your article of choice. 10% would be pretty amazing. That means that on any given email that you sent on any given day, upwards of 90% or more did not click through to your intended spot. Does that mean that email is bad? Well, I hope not. I'm out of a job. It just means that that's how they engage with it. If they can't, stuff happens. They're busy. They do bulk deletes. You know, they declare email bankruptcy and just get rid of everything. So my point is that you can send the same stuff, just phrased a little differently, thoughtfully repurposed and timed. You can share that same content. So if you have a Forever series, that's a year long, and it's it's evergreen, right? We're not doing Thanksgiving content in here. We're not doing Christmas content. It's evergreen. So it supposedly should work all year long. You can just, if that's 52 weeks, they do not remember what they got 2 weeks ago from you. You are fine if you want to just start it over. I have some clients that have 2 or 3 years worth of Forever series put together. I don't know if you remember my friend Jansen from Everyday Reading. She teaches about instilling a love of reading in your kids. So she's been blogging for 15 years. Harry Potter is not at its height right now. However, I still love Harry Potter. And if I have a child that is at Harry Potter reading age, and I share that with them, I open up the magic of that universe to that child at that time. Jansen has multiple posts about Harry Potter and the novels and whatnot. If they show up in week 35 or week 110, that's just the right time. And Jansen loves it because she can just dust off this old content that's been sitting there, not doing anything, but that she wrote so painstakingly and lovingly, and it shows up for her audience at just the right time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I'm just concerned if they feel like I'm over emailing and I email twice a week on a regular basis. And so then if I put them back in without any explanation, now they're going to be emailed 3 times a week. Whereas when they come on, they know that I tell them, welcome, I'm going to be sending you an email every week for a while. So you get, to see the best of our content. So if I just drop them back in it, I feel like they're going to be like, why am I getting this now?
How did they go from, I don't understand how they went from 2 to 3 emails a week if you were already sending it to them.
No, I send on a regular basis 2 what I would call seasonal emails a week.
Okay.
Related to whatever's going on in the education system.
Got it.
And that includes new content. But if you've joined up recently, you're in my Forever series. So those people are actually getting 3 emails a week.
I see. I got you. Okay.
So I would
talking
just
about
want
the
to
legacy
say
folks.
do you want to sign up for this and, check out what our most popular products are 1 a week for a while? Or I'm not comfortable just saying, I just started it all over for you.
Yeah. And you'll find that in most things in email, I'm much more aggressive than a lot of people. So personally, I usually pick them up and drop them in and go for it. However, I totally understand what you're coming from, and your audience is it's a different audience. So you may want to say something like, I would just pitch it as a new thing. Just say, I have put together, I have an additional bonus email that comes out every Wednesday, and it's the timeless classics. Just give it a name or whatever you're going to call it, of the timeless classics of X, Y, and Z topic. Every week, you're going to get my most important thoughts that have spanned a 150,000 year career in this space, where I've talked to . So I think you'll enjoy it. If you'd like to sign up, click here, and then you do a link trigger that adds them right into it. And then all your new people are just used to getting 3 a week from you. By the way, that's also one of the reasons that I don't set, an expectation of I don't commit to a certain number one way or the other when I do the quick start guides at the end. Just so I can change things later if I want to, and come back and point that out to me. I have an RSS email for all new posts and write a new post every week that uses existing content. Does that count as a forever series? Albeit it's not on autopilot. Well, sort of. Kita, let's talk about your situation for a minute. Are you with me still? All right. My suggestion is, if you're into smoking, grilling, or the like, you've been doing this a long time. What would you tell somebody that is starting? Like I'm talking to a Disney cruiser, I always tell them the most powerful Disney cruise tip first. The way that you're doing it does not do that. So I'm suggesting create a journey. In fact, let's all do this, right? I want you to think about somebody. Let's go back to this. Where's my chart here? This person right here comes in through your quick start guide. We're not talking about Margaret's situation with your existing subscribers, okay? I'm talking about somebody who's new to your stuff, has come in through your guide, wants to know how to garden, wants to know what to make when they go camping, whatever. Boom. Evergreen. What are the first 5 things they need to know? Let's do it. Down below, let's drop in the chat. I want you to write the first 5 weeks. Okay? I shared with you what mine were for the Disney cruise. Sorry, I'm behind on my. Sure, Nisha, you can send me a screenshot if you'd like. Down to 301 days. Wow, you're really cutting back, Kylie. Restraint. So Stacy has 48 in hers. And I don't know if this happened to you, Stacy, but this happens to me a lot. Like, I forgot that I wrote number 37, and then somebody hits reply to that because they just got it. And I'm like, did I just send that? Oh yeah, that's in the Forever series. The 5 most Keaton, the 5 most important things are not including the quick start guide, because the quick start guide is going to change. You're going to do a spring grilling thing, and you're going to do a how to use your Traeger smoker quick start guide, and then you're going to do a Christmas holiday, smoking tricks and treats. So from there, what's the most important thing that smokers need to know? What if your target audience isn't necessarily a beginner to a journey? Then what's the next step? I do vegetarian readers, and some might be new to vegetarian, lots won't be. Yeah, and I'm not even saying, Becca, in your case, I'm not even saying how to. What are they there for? They're there for inspiration for recipes, not necessarily how to do it. So if you were to stand up in front of a seasoned crowd of vegetarians, and you are I take it you're a vegetarian blogger, a vegetarian food blogger, is that right? Huh? So what are you going to stand up and say? Say, my friends, colleagues, people, trust me, I know. The next thing you need to know is this. And that are my 5 most popular vegetarian recipes of all time. Why am I choosing these? Because they're tried and true and everybody loves them. Or my fastest vegetarian recipes of all time. One of the biggest struggles of eating right is having the time to do it. My 5 fastest of all time. Eating vegetarian is expensive. How do I do it cheaper? Here are my 5 favorite budget recipes, you see? And those are evergreen. And those can work all year long. Stacy's been doing themes like best pies, favorite chocolate. Chocolate's a universal thing. My fellow food lovers, that happened to blog about it. Tap into the power of chocolate. Oh my goodness. I went for 5 years without doing like quick start guides specifically on chocolate, and I will never make that mistake again. Those things convert like crazy. And I don't care how much traffic you get on chocolate. Remember I was telling you my favorite subject line trick? Curiosity plus self-interest. My second favorite subject line is just use the word chocolate chip cookie in it. Open percent, your open rates woo, through the roof. All right. PETA, let's brainstorm this together. Can you unmute? I really want to talk about meats. Becca wants to talk about it too. I love it when we get all these groups together. All right. I could go with best recipes, most popular recipes for people who are interested in science. Let me show you. I should have done this from the get-go. Let me show you some quick start or some Forever Series examples. All right, hold on a second. Not that. How do I get to it? Give me a second. All right, let's take a look at some Forever Series. If you are into gardening, you could do something like this. What's in your garden toolbox? This is universally helpful to everybody who's gardening. Must have hand tools for gardeners. Doesn't matter what time of year you get this. I like this. If you're into food, Becca, maybe this is your kind of thing. My most popular recipes make these first. Now, you didn't get into that in the quick start guide, probably, but this is introducing them to, today I'm giving the top recipes on Ambitious Kitchen that are all-time reader favorites. And then to keep things simple, I'm going to share one from each category. What to make first out of 2,000 recipes. This breakfast, that lunch, this dinner, that dessert. What if we do best year-round baking gifts? Okay. This is, we'll talk about this again when we get into affiliate stuff. All right. A lot of food examples in here, right? The tacos we're eating on repeat. In this case, Sylvia picked one thing to feature and then other things that can go along with it. Make sense? Hopefully you're seeing how you can come up with some different examples. Okay, man, I'm just missing everybody's questions here. What if you're targeting, okay. How do we make sure our initial emails to our Forever Series do not overlap with the content we placed in the Quick Start Guide? Just give yourself a week. Remember email math? They don't remember. They don't remember. And you can do things like in the case of those fish tacos, like if you're Sylvia, and those are like her main things. She, by the way, here's a little trick. Put your highest earning, all else being equal, put your higher earning articles into your Forever Series so that people for sure see those, all else being equal. The journey is most important, but if you have a choice between fish tacos and, I don't know, tofu tacos, and the fish tacos outperform it, I might just roll with that. But in Sylvia's case, she could have the fish tacos in her quick start guide, probably in a roundup of my, my 5 favorite ways to celebrate Taco Tuesday. 2 weeks later, if they get this, remember our opens and click rates? Nobody's freaking out about that. Should we make it? I could go with best recipes, most popular. We're interested in the science, how to temper, what to make. Yes, yes, Jenny, fantastic. I love it. Okay, Nisha, I'll look at that in just a second. I feel like I'd send the first to everyone and split them off based on interest, like ask if they're here for the recipe. Okay, so Jenny, we are going to talk about segmentation here. Remember I was talking about the Disney Cruise people versus the coloring page people. In ConvertKit or any one of these other platforms, you can make different workflows, or ConvertKit calls them a sequence, right? Other places call it an automation. I had a sequence just for Disney cruisers. So if they filled out a quick start guide related to Disney Cruise, I had a rule that it added them into that Forever series. They didn't, not just everybody got in there, but those specific people. Now, the easiest way to do that segmentation is by tagging them when they come in through a quick start guide that's related to that topic, because you know that they're into that topic. So for those of you who are into food, maybe you've got air fryer, maybe you've got Instant Pot, maybe you've got slow cooker. Those are different devices, and you know that they have that. Let's say you only have 5 weeks worth of air fryer recipes. Does it make sense to have an air fryer quick start guide and then drop them into an air fryer Forever series of 5 emails? I believe so, because your conversion rate is going to be higher to get them. And because you're more relevant to them than general recipes, you're going to serve them better for 5 weeks, which is going to ingrain your brand in their mind. And then when you come out with the 6th, they'll be ready for it. Or when you drop them into, like I do with general Disney content, I take them from the Disney cruise into general Disney. I have a pretty good shot that since they know who I am and I've served them well, that maybe they'll be more into the Disney, you know, letting me tell them about Disneyland instead of just the Disney cruise. Serve where you can. And these are like automated money machines. Honest. If you made that air fryer sequence for 5 weeks and you were getting good click-throughs and you said it, forget it, you're just getting paid every time somebody opens that. You're not even thinking about it anymore. I already send a weekly email, things like 3 taco recipes. Sounds similar. Yeah, it does sound similar, Becca. The reason to make them pre-scheduled is to think through the journey so that you're, well, and aside from that, it's less work for you in the long run. But the more important user reason is you have thought through what's more important. Because 3 taco recipes, maybe those taco recipes are the best things you have and they represent you the best. Every single new subscriber should get that on week 2. And there should be no accent about it. But, you know, you can't miss it. This is a big part of Becca's brand. That's how I see it anyway. That's why I create these series. I want to control the brand story this way. When I put them in Forever series, I schedule those posts to repeat on Facebook. That's fantastic. That's smart. Repurposing your content, Margaret. I love it. I have some segments. Okay. Let's take a look at niches and then I'll move on. I've probably spent more time on this than I should. Nisha, is there something specific you want? You just want to show me what you're doing, or do you want impact? Let's see, who's this? As a registered dietitian, I'm also asked about balanced meal. Love it. Look at that graphic. That's wonderful. Still, right? Looks awesome. There's nothing seasonal about this. You can roll with this every week of the year. It doesn't matter if they come in November or they come in July, they're going to enjoy this. A 60% open rate is pretty good, I think. Nice. Can I help in any way, Nisha, or did you just want that validation? I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I just went into this based on your first course and I had no idea what I was doing and no one's ever looked. I just wanted an opinion.
Oh, you're doing great. I love it. And I love the graphics. Obviously that's more work to make those graphics, right? But one of the things about this is that since this is going to be in your Forever series, you know it's going to be around a while. So investing in the time to make a pretty email, not just a pretty email, but one that conveys what you're trying to tell them, I think that's time well spent. I think it's great.
Thanks.
Very good. Very, very good. And I hope you all see the variance that you can do with these things. Like, oh, let me show you one more example. Oh man, I went away from it. So let me show you one last example that I forgot to show you. Here's another thing that it feels like a welcome email, but he puts this in early in the journey, early in his Forever series. He doesn't call it a Forever series. But this is my best work. So, and when you're following Sahil, you're following you're following him as a thought leader. So something like my best work makes a lot of sense. The reason I'm showing you this is format. We've seen lots of different ways to do this. You saw how Sylvia did it with the tacos. You saw how Nisha did it with the infographics and then individual recipes. And here I'm showing you how you can do it with bullet points. The point is, think through the journey. So if you haven't done so yet, write down your first 5 emails of what you want to stand for, what you want them to see. All right. Okay, talking about segmentation. Margaret brings up a great question. Some of you have never segmented before. The more that you have them segmented, the reason to do that is that you're going to get better engagement. You'll be able to serve more of them better. The obvious example I keep using, Disney cruisers have very specific needs. They're going to open and click every single one of my emails because they're dropping $5,000 to $10,000 on a vacation. The grandma that's downloading a Disney coloring page for her grandchild to entertain them while she's got them doesn't need all that other stuff. But the more valuable audience to me, but a smaller audience, is the Disney cruiser. So that's the why. Beyond that, knowing their needs, I can serve them better and sell them more stuff if I need to. How do you get them segmented, though? First of all, you have to identify your segments. But if you're like Margaret, who has identified that therapists, educators, and parents are 3 different distinct segments, how do you do that? Well, once they're on the list, it's tough. It's tough to retroactively go back. Now, if you have any forms or opt-ins or an ebook or a printable, anything where they came in, you might be able to do some reverse engineer the forensics. Go back and go, okay, all those people came in through that educational type of content is probably an educator. I'm going to label them with a tag. You can do that. You can also ask a survey. You can use something like SurveyMonkey or one of those where you send them and you say, please tell me about yourself. And then as part of that, you have to bring the data back into your MailerLite or your MailChimp or your ConvertKit. And that's not the easiest thing to do, but you can do it. The easiest thing to do, though, oh, by the way, yeah, and you can also ask them. In your case, Margaret, you might get a better response than many of us will because it's it's more specialized in terms of the topic. So straight up asking them kind of in a choose your own adventure style, like which of these is most like, best describes you. I am a therapist. I am a teacher. I am a parent of a child that blah, blah. And when you click it, it tags them. You won't get very many people that do that, but it's still worth doing because, those people are highly engaged because they were willing to click it, right? The easiest thing is still take the therapist and come up with a quick start guide that's specific to them. Get people sign up for that and you'll know that they're therapists. And do the same thing for parents and for teachers. To create these segments, do you need to create several different forms? If you're doing what I just described, so like in the case of therapist versus parent, I would probably say something like, Mom and Dad, do you know your child's strengths? That's one form. And so I would have an ebook, I would have a quick start guide, I would have an opt-in for that. And then on the back end, in your case, Nisha, you're using ConvertKit, you would have a ConvertKit form that connects to that. Then the rule is when they come in through that form, you set a tag that says parent. And then you do the same thing for teachers. Do you know your students' strengths? Same deal, but yes, it would have to be a different form. And that ConvertKit kind of acts like the forms are. This is also how MailerLite does it too. For those that are on MailerLite, they act as kind of a receiver, is a form, and then you apply the tag to that. All right. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with all your questions. You're doing great. All right, let's get on to what do you send right now? What about the seasonal stuff? Well, you send the same things, but I don't want you to think about the latest stuff. I want you to think about your audience's, your readers' needs. I'm going to share with you a spreadsheet that hopefully helps one of you. Okay. When you get this down in the chat, I want you to open this up. Feel free to open this up and come up here to File, Make a Copy. and then you can have it for yourself. What this is, pretty simple. I just needed something to organize my life and then found that it was helpful to some other folks. So you can just change this first one right here. So if you change this date to, you're going to send it every Sunday instead of Saturday, you can just change that date, and it'll change all the rest of them going down. So that just change that first one. Then what is your audience thinking about that time of year? Now, of course, I've got a generic kind of food thing going on here, but you get the idea. In January, they're thinking about eating healthy. In February, it's Valentine's Day. In May, it's Cinco de Mayo and Mother's Day, right? So then you come in here and you just say, what do I have? Just brainstorm it. I have pastas. I have romantic dinners for two. Great. Then you can plug in here the URL to your lobster tail, your steak, your chocolate, and your candy. You don't have to write the email. I'm just telling you to put what's going to be in the email, and you just throw these in here. And it doesn't have to be 5, it could be 1, it could be 10, it could be whatever. All right. This is just to organize you or to hand it to a VA. I have one of my students' name is Rachel from Rachel Cooks. Rachel, 5 years ago, she and I created an email right in time for the Super Bowl, which was 7 super snacks for the Super Bowl. Now, in it was sliders and dips and nachos and things like that. She has used that same email every year since. She's just gone in, she's changed a few words here and there, swapped out a recipe or two. The one question that nobody ever asks Rachel is, Rachel, when did you originally publish these sliders? Who cares? The audience receives the sliders just right before the game, knows how to make them, and often on their way. What's my point? What's new to you does not matter to them at all. Your great Aunt Mildred is the only one who has consumed all of your content, and maybe a stalker from your past that needs a restraining order. Those are the only 2 people. Your own mother. You guys, I got to tell you, I went on a trip and I made the most with my wife, and I made the most amazing travel video. I sent it to all my kids, all 3 of them. You know how many of them actually watched it? I personally texted it to them. 1 of the 3 watched it. So what's my point? As a prolific content creator, they cannot remember or consume all of your stuff. Let's just serve it to them when it matters. All right? Yes, that kid is my favorite. The other 2 have been written out. All right. I hope this helps one of you to organize your life. Let's talk very briefly, because I want to get to the pop-ups. I don't want to get to the pop-ups, actually, but we have to. Let's talk briefly about, okay, so we've got a Forever Series 1 per week. We've got a seasonal one per week. I'm telling you, for those of you who don't believe me, you can send more emails. You can handle 1 seasonal and you can handle 1 Forever Series. Those of you who are already doing that, I ask you, can you send 1 more? Maybe you can. I know that you're concerned about that. Sharon's scratching her head. That man is crazy. That is partially true. However, I've proven this many times. I actually I have a client last summer. She has a list of 75,000 subscribers. I said, let's try an experiment. She had a Forever Series and a seasonal weekly newsletter, food blogger. I said, let's send 4 emails a week. We doubled the sends. We had 0 impact on our unsubscribes. No, we did it for a month. I'm sure that at some point, some fatigue has to set in. It has to. It's just we hadn't hit it. And I don't know when it is. So I know that you can send more often. Shauna asked one of the best days to send emails. I believe that the best days to send it, you can ignore all of those studies that people like ActiveCampaign and whatever they publish and they send, because can you imagine Kevin's audience being the same as your audience? Does that mean that they're opening and consuming emails at the same time? So if you're going to go on a Disney cruise, Sunday afternoons are a great time to dream and think about, an upcoming vacation. I found that that's when people were on. So that was a good time to send emails. A bad time to send food emails is Friday. That's pizza night. People are tired. They're not cooking. They ignore you. That has been shown over and over and over again. But Saturday morning, magically, before they head off to Costco to buy their stuff for the Labor Day weekend, that's a great day. Now, and then it goes to what Keita said, is that if you really love the brand and they serve you, or you think that there's something value coming down the road, then you're probably, they're okay with them sending you a lot. Megan just proved that, the Friday thing, I should say, okay? All right. Great questions, everybody. You are fantastic. This is honestly one of the best groups I've worked with in the last month, for sure. All right, so let's talk about RSS. Anybody not know what RSS is? The very brief version is that WordPress creates this technical feed called an RSS, which is just basically every time you publish a new post in WordPress. So MailChimp and platforms like it can grab that feed and go, oh, I see you published something new. Every time we do that, we're going to send you a new email or send your audience a new email. You can also do that on an individual post level, or you can do it as a digest where it does a roll-up. I don't recommend this as the default thing. However, for some of you, like what Stacy's doing, a weekly RSS digest is the way to scratch that itch of sharing new content. And because it's automated, you don't actually have to do any work. So, because one of your constraints on sending more emails is your time, if that's you, in lieu of doing all the other things that we've been talking about, or in addition to, one quick way to get more emails to your audience to serve them is do like what Stacy's doing with an RSS roundup of her newest stuff from the week. Okay, it's not perfect. It doesn't do the thing with the Super Bowl thing like Rachel did. However, I kind of, I was a jerk about it a minute ago. There is something to the what's new. People do like to know what's new, but it's still all new to them. It's just one of those weird constructs, the mental constructs that we have, but people do like to know that. So what I'm baking, what I'm cooking, what I'm researching, what I'm building, what I'm doing in the garden this week, that kind of stuff is my way to do it. Is it okay to do RSS immediately when posted? Yeah, that's totally up to you on how you, are you talking about like from a SEO perspective or something? The social, I don't really know much about the social impact of that.
No, I
but
felt like I put them immediately because then it's like they're really fresh to them. They get to see it even before it's on Instagram, because usually it'll come there straight after.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
that okay, or is it
Oh,
annoying?
yeah, no, that's not, I think that's totally fine. I think that the reality of the number of people who are actually on your email and following you on social is very, very few. That's the reality. It's just not a big number. I have some people with massive followings on Instagram and social. And number one, they're not actually, a lot of their stuff isn't being shown to them. And number two, their newsletter size is tiny. So I cater to the newsletter people because I know that I have a better shot of them seeing it. Now you can't ignore the social, of course, but that's how I see it. Shauna asked, do I recommend when food bloggers include do I recommend them to do it? Yes. She said to want to save this recipe. If you're unfamiliar with that, just do a quick Google search. It's all over the place. I started doing that with clients. I wasn't the first, obviously, but I was one of the earliest about 18 months ago. Stacy, Kylie, you know what I'm talking about. It took off and it did great. And Kylie's right that Raptive is building it into Slickstream if you haven't done it yet. It will be, for those who did have it custom built, the Raptive version will be more limited than what you have. However, those who don't want to pay somebody like me the big bucks to build it, the free version from Raptive included in your Slickstream is going to be a great solution. So consider that. Well, it'll be limited in the fact that the design elements will be limited. What it looks like to your audience, what you can customize, and what it actually sends to them. my suspicion is that if you and I did custom work, that somebody else out there on sequences behind the scenes about what happens to them when they sign up. Does anybody not know what I'm talking about? Is anybody completely lost? I apologize. I just went right into some, okay, sounds like everybody knows. So the save this recipe or save this article sends a link. What I like to do with that is we've got some customization on the back end that nurtures those people differently. It's almost like I turn them into a quick start guide, but with, you know, a few emails related to other saved recipes. And on top of it, because I want, you know, and I've even done stuff with as an experiment with a few special people where we've asked people to give reviews on that particular recipe. And it has worked pretty well. So anyway, it is the hottest hack in email from the last 2 years. ManyChat is probably coming up on that close. But all right. I get concerned that people get confused with my signup boxes from ActiveCampaign versus Slickstream signups. Okay, I think we'll have to talk about that one separate if you want. I don't know a lot about ActiveCampaign, but it may be a visual thing that actually Raptive is very, very good at looking into that with you too. So if you're like, have a specific thing related to your Raptive setup, like I don't like how this looks, what can I do? The Raptive, I really, really enjoy working with the Raptive team. I think they're very responsive, and I've talked to the Slickstream folks and they're wanting to build a great product. So give them that feedback. If there's a user experience thing there, that's not I can't cover that here necessarily, but they can probably help you. I do not, Shauna asked, do I do double opt-in? Oh, I gotta get to the pop-ups. But the double opt-in, no, I don't. I do single opt-in. The reasons that you do double opt-in is to protect your list. Well, there are so many more protections built in now than there ever were before. There's automatic CAPTCHA that anytime there's some weird behavior coming up. There is a GDPR process that I follow for those that are concerned about the GDPR laws. You can see that in the Email and Autopilot course, but that is to a limited audience. And most of us here in this space have been making money because of the US based audience. And so I don't, you know, go follow the GDPR process for that. Becca, you'll see how I cover it. It's not double opt-in. It is explicit consent, but it's not double opt-in. That's a difference, right? The double opt-in technically means that you turn on in MailChimp and ConvertKit, you make sure that it sends that confirm my subscription thing. You don't have to do that way. Go look at how I do it in the GDPR process on Email and Autopilot, and you'll do it, all right? Yeah. Oh, anyway, but single opt-in, you have people that want your stuff. Remember, Martha, she doesn't know you. So when she signs up for your quick start guide in that moment, she doesn't remember your brand. And so when it arrives in her inbox, probably, unfortunately, in the promo tab the first time, it's sandwiched in there with the REI and the Honda emails that people aren't deleting or that are unsubscribing. So they do a mass delete and they get this important confirm your subscription. They're like, I didn't confirm. That looks like spam to me. I didn't sign up for anything. Whereas if you said my favorite chocolate chip cookie of all time, they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm excited about that. Let me open that up, right? That's what happens. It's just statistically over and over again. So you'll grow your list much faster, but then I prune the list much faster. All right. So I'm aggressive with the growth, aggressive with the pruning. Got to save that for another day. I got to talk about pop-ups because I promised. All right. Man, I am doing terrible at time management on this session, folks. That's because you have so many great questions. And I prefer to just answer the questions. First of all, a little tip. I had a conversation with this person. Her name is Alyssa Doolin from ConvertKit. And if you are not using, the homework today is get your Forever series put into place or revisit your Forever series, and then build out your broadcast schedule if you haven't. For those of you who are inconsistent, it's time to get serious here. Let's get a system in place. All right, Google Postmaster tools. If you haven't signed up for these, the point is go sign up now. for Google Postmaster tools related to your domain. It is a great way to cover or to make sure that you understand where your reputation is with Yahoo, with Google, because they kind of mirror each other. Okay. All right. Pop-ups. There's lots of different things you can do besides pop-ups. You've seen something like this where it highlights it. Slickstream has this capability over around a form that's already embedded in your site. OptinMonster has something called attention activation. It feels like a pop-up, but that's not actually what's happening. It's just graying around it. So if you do not use this, I highly recommend it. It's very successful. For those of you who are coming over from Mediavine, you're probably familiar with this, with their Spotlight Subscribe product that they had. Okay, love it. Works really, really well, and it's just in the moment. All right, it's not like that. Slickstream, it was Raptive's baby that you know. You can save articles into collections. So make it easy for people to come back and consume your catalog of content that was meaningful to them. Not a ton of people do this relative to your traffic, but those that do are arguably pretty valuable. So when they do that, by the way, it shares your email address with us. And then we can use it in MailChimp, in MailerLite, in ConvertKit, and send you specific emails. I highly recommend that you create a separate workflow, a sequence related to people who save recipes. Remind them how to get it. Give them more ideas of things that they could save. Another thing, I did not make this quiz, by the way. This is from Foodie Crush. I just like it. I just think she's done a really nice job. This is an affiliate link for this quiz software should you ever decide you want to do it. It's a nice one. It's called Interact. And you've seen these quizzes before, but it's what should I make for dinner? And then it asks you some questions. And then at the end, it gives you a result. In order to get the result, you have an option. You can either give them your email address or make them give you their email address for the result, or you can ask them to sign up for your newsletter at the end when you give the result. So it just depends on how aggressive you want to be there. But this is another nice way to grow your list creatively. All right, pop-ups. My first thing that I'm going to tell you is I will not engage publicly any SEO on the topic of pop-ups. It's a lose-lose conversation. There is a belief out there that there is some sort of technical penalty for doing pop-ups on mobile. And that's simply not true. I understand where it comes from. I have done many, many, many hours of research on this. I have done pop-ups with my clients for the last 7 years. If I had done pop-ups wrong and people were getting penalties, my people would not be happy with me, and that would probably hurt my reputation. I also do it the same way that Raptive does it. Raptive stands to lose a lot if you lose traffic, okay? Raptive has talked to Google, the Google team, about these things as well, all right? Google has given some good guidelines about how not to be annoying, and that's the main concern. Is don't be annoying. All right. So some of you, it's called highlighter in the Slickstream. Some of you hate pop-ups because you think they're annoying. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Some of you are worried about the Google penalty because a couple of particular SEOs have dogmatically sworn that these are the spawn of Satan. Please do not tag me on any conversations with those particular individuals. I'm not going to engage. In fact, they send me business. It's not good for me. All right. However, here's what's going on. Let's address the annoying part. You Google Disney cruise tips. You land on Picture the Magic's 110 Disney cruise tips. You start to read, and instantly you get sign up for updates. Never miss an update about a Disney cruise. That's pretty annoying. Instead, you land on that. You're engaging with the content. You're seeing that it has the type of stuff that you're looking for. You can tell right away, after just even a few seconds of scrolling, that this is the right place for you. And then you get a pop-up that is sized the right size and is easy to get out of if you want. And it says what to expect on your first Disney cruise. That's not annoying. That's actually helpful. The way I know that is I've never got a complaint on that, and my conversion rate is through the roof. So my answer to those that are worried about annoying pop-ups is simply don't be annoying. Create something of value. that they want. And we've been talking about that for the last 3 days. As far as best practices technically, you can almost do, I mean, I'm exaggerating here, but you can almost do anything you want on desktop. The big concern is mobile. And this device right here, we don't want to make a pop-up that covers up everything. Typically, when you see mine, they are like maybe a third of the screen. You need for them to be able to engage with the content beneath it and see it. Don't make it impossible to close. You don't want to hide the X. You don't want to hide the, you don't want to make it so that some software, it's ridiculous. Make it so you have to click the X. Like my fat fingers can't navigate all that. Like I'm old and slow. So if I just touch anywhere on the screen, it should close. Don't show it immediately. Allow people to engage with the content. The way that many SEOs deal with this, because they have no vested interest in this game, remember? They don't care. So I don't blame them for being as ultra conservative as possible. The way that they deal with this is that just don't show a pop-up if somebody came from Google and wait till the second click. That's not necessary. You can actually show the pop-up, just wait 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever, allow them to engage. You can do exit intent if you want, but it just won't drive you any signups. It doesn't even work on mobile. The idea behind the technology is that exit intent came from the desktop days when you track the mouse. The mouse is moving back towards the click away parts. Up, let's show the pop-up. You can't even do that on mobile. And then lastly, don't show pop-ups people aren't going to care about. Never miss an update. Subscribe. Buy my ebook. Right? Have I said too much? Have I said too little? You do you. For those of you who are on ConvertKit, I have in the email and autopilot course the way that I do it in ConvertKit. I used to curse their name on their pop-ups. I hated them for years and years. Some of you have heard me do that. I've actually come around because they asked me why I wasn't using them. I said they suck. I can't customize them. They look terrible. And they show the same thing on desktop and on mobile. And they gave me some CSS code that I can put into one template that actually looks decent. And now I use it for all my clients. It's called the Poplar template. In email and autopilot course, you'll see the tutorials. Now, for those that aren't on ConvertKit, MailerLite also has a free one. It has the same problem that I just described with ConvertKit. So does MailChimp, and so does Flowdesk. Can't remember what ActiveCampaign has. Sorry, Margaret. So for those that want the flexibility to do something different, here are the 3 that I use, and I put these in the Facebook group as well. These are affiliate links. Should you decide you want to get it, great. Pizza money. I love pizza. ConvertPro. This is kind of the budget version of the big daddies. All right. So for about $90 a year, you can do those things that I just described fairly simply. And in email and autopilot, I have a tutorial on how to set up a ConvertPro pop-up. It's fine. It does the job. It's a little bit of a clunky interface. You can do all the things that I just described about show it on different categories, on different posts, on different pages. All these do this, by the way. You can have different versions for desktop and mobile, which all these do. You just have to get a template that you like. And here's a few that you can look at. This is a ConvertPro thing. They also have some other features in there, like the info bar at the top. They have a swoopy slider thing that comes in if you want to do that. So you can experiment with that. The drawback to ConvertPro is the conversion rate stats. They're non-existent as far as I can tell. They may have upgrades and stuff or upsells, but for the base product, I don't know how it's performing from a conversion rate. I just have raw numbers, and I don't love that. But as far as site speed and everything, it's fine. It's been vetted by Grayson and NerdPress and all those people. Okay, so ConvertPro. Opt-in Monster is the one that Raptive uses, and I probably would too if I didn't want to take out a second mortgage on my house to afford it. All right, it's just really expensive. But they have many built-in templates. They've been doing it a very long time. So they've got lots of different options, like the attention activation that I was telling you about. It's not where it darkens it around it. So OptinMonster is a great solution. The one I like the most out of these three for stats and simplicity is called ConvertBox. ConvertBox is the cleanest. Anybody have ConvertBox here? Anybody using this? Sharon, are you nodding? How do you feel about it? You like it?
I'm very basic. I like it better than Convert Pro and the ConvertKit, but I haven't done any of the segmentations or
Okay,
any specialty stuff.
cool. It is. I like it for its simplicity for a couple of things. It's very simple setup. It's very simple. They don't have as many designs actually, which actually kind of works to your benefit. The designs that they do have are pretty good. And so it just makes it real simple to set these up. But the thing I love is the A/B testing. I love it. It's so easy. So this right here, for example, I tested this image of my family against just an image of the ship. And guess which one? They don't like my legs or something, because the image of just the ship crushes this image. So I wouldn't have known that. I would have guessed that a happy family in front of a cruise ship would have done better. So you can test that. You can test what the call to action on the button. You can test the headlines. There's all sorts of things you can test. It's very, very easy to use and to read the results. And so that's why I like ConvertBox. Oh my goodness, 11 minutes over. My apologies, people. You're very busy and important, and I've monopolized too much of your time. I appreciate you hanging out. If you have any specific questions about your tech or your situation, let me know. I want to answer it for you. If you got to get out of here, go make a Forever series. Go plan your broadcasts. Let's rock this. And if you haven't launched your Quick Start Guide yet, let's do that too. Okay. Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, just go ahead and unmute.
What about it?
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so is ConvertKit going to show us how to do all of this? I mean, are there tutorials? Back to, I am not tech savvy. It's amazing I actually got the website together. So is ConvertKit going to be, the reason we didn't do the quick start thing is because we thought we were adding the sequence to it, and we haven't done that yet either. So should we just be watching some stuff over there?
You have access to email and autopilot.
Yeah,
now,
it's in there.
and it's in there.
Okay.
Just go watch those little videos, especially the first couple of modules. And you'll be
Okay.
like, oh yeah, he talked about that. Oh yeah, okay, that's how you do that.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
Additionally, I'll mention this again tomorrow, but tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific I'm going to be doing a trial run of something I'm calling Learn ConvertKit Fast. If you're interested in that, that is in the email, and I have the information in the Email and Autopilot Facebook group, which you can join when you sign up for the Email and Autopilot course, which you can have for free thanks to Raptive because you're here. Oh my gosh, it all comes together. So that's where that information is. So if you're not in there, go get in there. All right?
Okay.
You'll know about
Yeah,
it if
yeah,
you want to join. There will not be a replay on that. That's going to be a live thing only. It'll be the first time I'm doing it. So if you can make it live, that in your case, Shauna, that sounds like it might be well worth your time. That's Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And then
Be
the
sure to
other,
like and subscribe.
I will. Thank you. My last question was to do the Slickstream with the pop-ups. Like we're doing both of those, correct?
Okay, great question. I do all of it.
Okay.
That's not going to be right for everybody. I understand that. But I am an aggressive list grower. So as long as the user experience is okay, I am probably going to do that. Because remember, think about a pop-up. I'm scrolling, I show the pop-up. What's a good conversion rate on a pop-up? Like 2%. It's a great conversion rate on a pop-up. That means it's 2 out of every 100 people see it. That means the 98 people they just went bloop, right past it. That's what we all do. In fact, I've had situations where the pop-up came up and I was like, I came back later and I'm like, I kind of want to sign up for that now. Then
Yeah.
I've forgotten how. So having it in other places makes a lot of sense to me. Like, for example, even though a form never gets signed up in the footer, I still put something in the footer for those people that are like, start looking for it, which isn't very many. The whole point we've been talking about just raw, statistics and things like that. But there are still some people. It's just not a huge number that go digging. In the how to prune your list, Nisha, there's a segment in the Email and Autopilot. Just watch that and see if that does it for you. And if you have any follow-up questions, let me know. Hello, Megan.
Let me unmute. Hi. I don't know, I haven't gone through the whole course, so maybe just tell me if it's in there. What's the best way to do the Forever series in Flowdesk?
In Flowdesk, I think you get one, it's not in there. I don't do any tutorials on Flowdesk. Flowdesk is a great beginner entry level kind of thing. You get what you pay for. And you can do a sequence. I'm sure I have other people on here that are on Flowdesk that are doing the Forever. Anybody still here that is on Flowdesk doing a Forever series? That can actually answer that question better than I can. I believe that they allow you to have, do they allow you to have multiple workflows now?
Mhm.
Okay, so there you go. You just
Do it
create a
with that.
workflow and it's separated by a week, each one, right?
Okay.
Set it to go on every Sunday or whatever day you're gonna do, and then presto. I think you're good.
Okay,
Yeah, I know
Okay, I
that I've
just
got
didn't know if there
clients
was, like, a
doing the Forever
different-
series on Flowdesk for sure.
thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, thanks for a good time. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. We're gonna start talking about money. Oh, bring your number 2 pencil. Get prepared, take notes. All right, we'll see ya.